So welcome back. I have a very simple request. Let's wait for any new budget decisions until next year, January 3rd, when the cavalry is coming, instead of this year in a lame duck Congress. Joining me now to discuss it, Senator Roger Marshall of the great state of Kansas. Am I asking too much, Senator? This continuing resolution is so phony. Not only are they going to bloat the budget again, but it ends in the middle of December. So wait a second. A lame duck Democratic Congress can spend their keisters off and wreck the inflation story and the budget story even more? Am I asking too much? Could we not do this?
Of course you're not asking too much, Larry. Look, you're right. The cavalry is coming, and that's why we need a clean CR that's going to go on through January, and then come January, we can put the full weight of the Republican Speaker of the House and the Republican Leader of the Senate and start cutting back on some of this inflationary spending. So no, it's not too much, and boy, am I optimistic. We've had some great town halls out in Kansas. The crowds are 4 to 5 times bigger, and they are pumped up, and they are excited. Every time Joe Biden opens his mouth, he motivates more Kansans to go vote.
Well, there's this devastating poll today from Washington Post, ABC News, which is, it's not a conservative poll for sure. And they show in swing districts, Republicans are ahead by whatever, 20, 25 percentage points. Really quite a remarkable poll. But my point here on the CR, you're all going to vote on the CR. Now, I think the permitting bill, I know Manchin loves his permitting bill, but the Republicans have a better permitting bill. And I think that should be the bill. But in general, this CR, it ends in the mid-December. And that is, don't you think that is so transparent what they want to do? The last hurrah of the progressive left will spend on everything known to mankind? I mean, it's just so transparently phony.
Of course, Larry, that's exactly what they want to do, is they want more inflationary spending. And again, what people are talking about back home is the cost of gas, the cost of groceries, their safety, security, and school, and who's going to control their schools. But more and more inflationary spending is not going to happen. Will cause more inflation. So that's why we need a clean CR. Meanwhile, Joe Biden wants more inflationary spending. He wants to use the COVID emergency as an excuse to justify his increased spending.
Senator, one other point before the House here is this permitting bill. Now, I think that the Shelley Moore Capito and Dan Sullivan have a better permitting bill, much better. Sullivan uses the regulatory review process, which is terrific. There are a lot of problems, in my opinion, with Manchin's bill. States could block it. FERC has too much power. But I'm just saying, what do you think is going to happen here? Because a lot of Senate Democrats are lining up against it. And, of course, 100-some-odd House lefty progressive Democrats. So what's going to happen here, Senator?
Yeah. Well, the good news, Larry, is that the Democrats are fighting amongst themselves for once, that their conference is the one that's going to be split over this. So this will go down Tuesday night. It's not going to pass cloture. And then they'll have to recommit and then come forward with a more clean continuing resolution, and then maybe do something different with the NDAA. But you're right. Shelley's got a much better bill. What this legislation would do is it gives FERC too much powers. And get this. It would allow FERC to legislate transmission lines based upon what's making the electricity, coal and natural gas, as opposed to wind and solar. So Kansans want no part of that, and I think it's going to stick Kansans with more of the cost of the electricity as well.
Couldn't you, just last one, sir, regarding a clean bill, quote unquote, if this permitting thing goes down or not, I mean, doesn't it make common sense to say it's going to go to the end of the year, instead of giving, the lame duck left massive spending power? I mean, it seems to me that's a big deal. It hasn't received enough attention yet.
Yeah, well, you're right, Larry. This is where the cavalry's going to come in, right? So the cavalry's coming. We want a clean bill that'll go on to January. It's black and white, and I'm sure a lot of my members on the Republican Party are going to stick with that plan and do everything we can to shoot down anything that's not a CR, the clean CR that goes on into January. So, if the government shuts down, it shuts down. I think it's that important to stand up for this issue.
All right, Senator Roger Marshall of Kansas. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you coming on the show.